Honorable Member, you know,
Yes.
looking at when you talk about the reversal of the election timetable that the National Assembly has now moved in this amendment, and you talk about the staggering of the timetable from 2 weeks into 1 month, you mentioned that, yes, there have been amendments to the Electoral Act within a year of previous elections. But clearly, this one is a bit different from previous amendments in that it's comprehensively adjusting the exercise of the election to come. So I want to ask you, in your view, do you think that the National Assembly has indeed acted responsibly, given the logistical challenges associated with elections, by keeping it until this time before the election?
Very responsibly. Let me explain to you. In the first place, like I did say, amendments take place are usually concluded about this time in all the previous times the elections have taken place. Secondly, this order of election that the National Assembly has adopted was the order of election in previous elections, in some of the previous elections. So it's not,
but not staggered out over the period of a month.
When you are staggering, when you are staggering election, people complain about logistic preparations. We had an issue. I think it was, we had an issue in 2011 elections where we were told that materials were not yet available, were not yet ready for some elections. There were delays and the rest of them. Now, when you are doing an election that is competitive, the ideal thing, in my own opinion, is that all elections could take place the same day. That is my personal opinion. All elections the same day. But we've had an issue. We have a problem where the umpire has consistently been inundated with issues and challenges about logistics. And so if you are the one that is superintending, you are the one that is supervising, you should be able to look at the challenges that, and mind you, when people are talking about amendments, it's not as if National Assembly did sit alone and come up with amendments. In all the interactions, we did interactions with ANEC. Some of the retreats that we had ANEC. Some of the position papers, in fact, some of the amendments that were in this Electoral Act came from ANEC.
What do you say to Nigerians who say that, look, if this is not motivated by the self-interest of lawmakers, then why isn't the governorship election first, for example? What do you say to Nigerians who are suspicious of the motives of the National Assembly?
Governorship election before?
Before the National Assembly elections.
Why would that be?
No, the idea being that some Nigerians have said that, look, if the National Assembly elections are first, of course, they'll have incumbency 1 month ahead of the presidential election. So they've asked, if the National Assembly stands to benefit from it, then why not put the governorship election first? What are your thoughts about that?
Like I told you, my preference would have been we have all the elections in 1 day, as it happens.
But that may not reflect your colleagues' opinions.
Let me explain. Number two is that I would have preferred that the legislative elections all took place in 1 day, including the House of Assembly. If those elections were to take place the same day, that would have been my preference. We had National Assembly clear with the legislative elections, and then you go to governorship, and then you go to president. That would have been my preference. But that was not what was carried. The fact of the matter is that there is no research that has shown, no evidence anywhere, apart from speculation, that the order of elections will affect the result of the election. Number two, people also make the mistake of talking about logistics, ANEC, money. We've had elections, 3 elections before, since 1999, 2003. There were elections. There was 2 weeks gap between, I think, governorship and House of Assembly election. I can't remember it exactly, and I didn't check the timetable while it was coming. It has taken place before. And I want to assure you that
in fairness, Honourable Member, retrospection is always 20/20 vision. And so when you look back, you would also have to acknowledge that those elections were largely judged locally and internationally as sham elections. So I think it's worth noting when you use those as a guidepost for what's to come.
If that is what the National Assembly is trying to do, to make sure that we don't have sham elections, to allow the umpire the room to be able to plan properly. And we're talking about logistics. The budget that the INEC will use for the conduct of election has not even been submitted to the National Assembly. So that means that in trying to do this date, the INEC is going to come with a budget, an election budget, which it does every election year, about this time, maybe in the next 1 month or so, to come with the election budget. That election budget will take care of whatever gaps that may have been created.
You're deeply engaged, of course, in the Constitution Amendment exercise, and I want to ask you about that. What would you say to Nigerians about the progress or the status of that exercise, and is it something that's actually going to see the finish line?
Well, we finished our own part, and we are waiting for the concurrence of the state houses of assemblies. We will need at least 24 state houses of assemblies consent in for any matter that was brought that we passed to clear. Otherwise, it has failed.
But what are your feelers in terms of the item by item?
No, I don't have any feelers. I don't have any feelers. I don't know how many state houses of assemblies have. You see, that is the beauty about procedure and process. If the state houses of assemblies choose to, they can kill everything that we have done.
In terms of what? Electoral amendment?
No. Yeah, there were some parts of the constitutional amendments that we had to do with elections too, like issue of independent candidacy. If we don't have concurrence of 24 state houses of assembly, that is dead. Anything that they don't come back with. And if they don't come back with the amendments in good time and the election process has commenced, it may not be possible to, for instance, the amendments that have to do with independent candidacy, if the amendments don't come in time, they don't come before primaries, before INEC set deadlines for submission of candidates, it means that they cannot be implemented in this election. That is the beauty of process.
Well, you have said that, that we need, one of the reasons why this amendment is being done is because of growth. You want to see better elections, but you haven't quite said why or how the National Assembly elections will help growth in this next elections. But we'll seek explanation after this break. Please stay with us.